I don't know. No, I did not. I'm trying to learn a little bit.
I like to get
Good, how are you?
Yes, I do. And we don't have the other one.
Where do you get that?
Over here, she has some over there.
Yeah, they give you all art.
I bet on my
Oh, really?
Good evening, everyone.
Hey, how are you? How are you? Hey, how are you? How are you? Good?
I said, good luck. How are you? How are you?
Yeah. How are you? Good?
No. Tell me you guys sit up here. Oh, no, I don't sit there. Please back into the office. Oh, okay. Push it up. I got it. Oh.
Give me something. What does that mean? There we go, very obvious. Very quickly. Hello. 2 times in a week. I'm gonna try to go that one on Friday. I can't guarantee. Which Friday? No, the one in Manhattan, the training you said, and water. Yeah.
I just think you got a couple.
Oh, there you go.
Did you get one?
No, I didn't. I thought we were supposed to print them out.
You could do that. Here, here. Stop. My wife will make chocolate. I didn't have a bed yesterday.
I was wondering what that was. Oh, thank you.
Bear with us. Technical difficulties.
Okay. Okay.
Good evening, everyone.
Welcome to the April meeting of Community Board 3. Let's see a whole bunch of people out here today. My name is Edwin Roosevelt, I'm the chair. We're going to dive in quickly. It's going to be a long agenda. We have no one in public participation, public information. First we have Assembly Member Catalina Cruz.
And this is my first official meeting with you, so congratulations on being the new chairman. Thank you. I know, hello, Mr. Former Chairman. I know we're gonna hear from, I believe she's in the, on the agenda, and we'll hear from the principal from this amazing school that we're at now, but I'll get to that in a minute. So thank you for those who I haven't had the pleasure to meet. I'm Catalina Cruz. I represent our neighborhood in the State Assembly. I wasn't planning to be here, that's why you probably don't see me on the list, because we are stuck in Albany dealing with a very, very, very late budget. They let us go today, and I said, we're out early, let me go stop by the community board and say hello and talk a little bit about the things that we've been doing. I want to make sure that the first thing I start with is the cannabis shop that's looking to open up in the corner of the school. We have been in a joint battle between the community board, the principal of the school, our council member, and us in front of the of OCM, which is the agency that issues the license. I want to explain a little bit about why, even though they don't have a license yet, you still see them basically getting ready. The law allows them to do that. The law allows them to basically show that they have ownership of the space. That means getting it ready to open. That means putting an awning. Even if ultimately they don't get the license, they can do it at their own peril. They can do it. But we've been speaking with them ever since we were made aware that there was an application for something so close to the school. There is a loophole in the law that we are looking to fix. The law says you cannot have a cannabis shop within 500 feet of a school. But that definition of a school is linked to another law, because we love doing that and confusing things, that says it's only a school if the entire building is a school. This particular school is a joint building with the library, which makes no sense because both things, the school and the library, is a place where we shouldn't have a cannabis shop so close because there are children nearby. And so the way in which we defeat it until we can change that law is through community input. So there's been a there was a public hearing today. I submitted testimony, and if anyone here is interested in submitting testimony, my staff is going to be here. We can give you the link. You can submit it written. It doesn't have to be in person. It doesn't have to be via video. You can just submit a note that says, I, as a community member, live in an X, Y, and Z address, do not want this shop nearby because of blah, 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 whatever you want to add. Principal Stacy has been wonderful in his work with us and is submitting testimony as well, the council member, the community board, and so we are hoping to successfully defeat it. Look, if they want to open up in another place, we don't mind. We just cannot have it that close to the entrance of the school. The second thing is a little bit of an update about where the budget is at. there's a couple of things that I know, especially the parents in the school have been, the parents in the audience have been interested in, which is cell phones in schools. There is probably going to be a ban that comes through the budget of children having cell phones in the school. That doesn't mean they can have them at all. It just means bell to bell. There will probably be some sort of a bag, a locker, or something that comes as part of that, because most of us, when we were in school, none of us had a cell phone, and we turned out pretty decent. So we want to make sure that our kids are paying attention, but that if they need their cell phone as part of their learning, because they may have a different ability, a different disability, or they need it for translation, as it often happens in rural parts of the state where there are no interpreters, they'll have an exception. There's other things that are coming, likely changes to to some criminal justice reform laws and other changes. And it's unclear yet the extent, and this is very important, the extent to which our different nonprofits, agencies, programs, et cetera, will suffer from the federal cuts. So we are preparing for it now and kind of planning around it. But I'm sure many of you saw on the news the governor said we will probably have to go back in September to readjust the budget to ensure that we are meeting the needs of everyone in the community by appropriating money a little bit differently. The other thing is we have been working very closely with the 115 and with the 110 on a lot of what's been happening on Roosevelt Avenue, as well as the MTA. We had a walk with the MTA about 3 weeks ago, where I have been asking them, along with Councilmember Krishnan and Assemblymember Raga, for additional lighting under the train. And you guys would not believe the headache that it has been, because DOT is like, no, it's not us, it's MTA. MTA is like, it's not us, it's the DOT. But we finally got an answer, and we're waiting to see the plans. But it looks like additional lighting is coming. Once it's official, once we have something, we will ask them to come and present it to the community so that you can see what it's gonna look like. And we have also been, as I mentioned, working with the precinct, because it is clear that there is some human trafficking happening along Roosevelt Avenue, and we want to make sure that we are providing services for folks and arresting the people that do need to be arrested. We can't hide from that piece. And so we have also gotten money, about $1 million, for community groups that are going to be providing those services. And the contract, I'm not going to get into that piece, but government contracting is not fun, and it's taking a little bit of time, but we expect that you'll start seeing what those services look like in the next couple of months. One of the groups is NICE, because they're going to do services around employment, but also services for human trafficking survivors. And so that's a little bit of where we're at. We continue to be here for the community for whatever you need. My staff will be here. We have our office on 42nd Avenue and Junction Boulevard, but we do have mobile office hours, so you'll see us in front of the post office, here in the library, at the senior center. And follow us on social media for community events. And Dawn, I see you have a question.
Only if it's okay with the chair.
Mr. Chairman, can I answer a question from one of you members?
We're gonna take 3 questions.
Go ahead.
Okay, sorry. Can you talk about the cannabis stores, Catalina?
Yes.
Especially the one right here.
So you came in as I was explaining it, but we are looking to hopefully defeat it through community input. There is a loophole in the law that unfortunately would allow them to open up within that distance from the school. We are working on closing the loophole, and I'm hopeful that we actually will be able to do that through the budget, but we can't wait and just hope. So we are also working through community input, through testimony, letters, because this has happened before. It's been defeated. There was one shop in Brooklyn that was defeated exactly this way. It was too close to a school, that it was also co-located with a different entity within the same building, and they were able to close it. Thank you.
You sound awfully receptive to them, though. You're saying if they want to open somewhere else, go ahead, we don't care.
Well, the law allows them to do that.
The law allows them, but did you really go in and say that? We don't care?
No. We don't want them opening too close to school. We want to make sure that they follow the laws.
I don't want them opening in the state.
Well, unfortunately, that law is now, that is now the law. They can't open in the state. You can absolutely do that, yes. You're gonna put them in the testimony that you don't want them anywhere in the community, you're more than welcome to do that. And you said 3, right? Oh, Giovanna?
Yes, hi. Thank you so much for taking up the issue, Roosevelt Avenue. We've been fighting for a very long time. The police department and anyone that access those streets are fearful. It's dark and very dangerous. So I just want to thank you for.
And we're hoping, and thank you, Giovanna. One of the reasons I want to bring, and when I want to ask the MTA, when whatever plan they have for lighting is ready, to bring it to the board, whether it's as an open meeting or at least to you guys, is because we want feedback. We don't want to do it in some sort of enclosed way, and then they install it, they spend $10 million, and it's done. And I know that the chairman only allows us for 3 questions. I'm happy to go to the back and answer any other questions that folks have, because the chairman had to ask me for the question. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
One question from the back.
Okay, next up, unfortunately, the principal of Renaissance is unavailable today, so we're gonna move on. Next is the New York State Liquor Authority. We have David Stoller and Juan Herrera. Thank you. I'm David Stoller. I'm the Regional Director for Zone 1 of the State Liquor Authority. And I'm kind of the sour in this package. Juan is the sweet, so first you have to take your medicine. The liquor, I'll try and make it quick. I just want to talk a little bit about what we do and how we do it. The Liquor Authority, we have a sort of 3-pronged mission. And that mission is to regulate and control the manufacture and distribution of alcoholic beverages for the purpose of fostering and promoting temperance in that consumption and respect for the law, to promote the health, welfare, and safety of the people of New York, and at the same time, to support economic growth, job development, and the state's alcoholic beverage production industries and its tourism and recreation industry. So those are sort of opposite things, to promote temperance and also to license people to sell alcohol and to promote small businesses. We have about close to 70,000 licensees in New York State. 30,000 of those or so are in Zone 1. This is Zone 1. That's New York City, Westchester, Long Island. About 900 are in CB3, so that's plenty. I think one thing that is on everybody's mind right now is what's going on with outdoor dining. So I just wanted to just quickly go over what that process looks like. Basically, the DOT is the people who give permits for people to eat outside, and the Liquor Authority gives the license to drink alcohol outside. There is a process that the DOT goes through. They have an application, they have hearings, and eventually, and pretty well, depending on who you ask, it can be pretty quick. They've been giving what is known as a conditional approval to anyone who fulfills certain requirements. And for example, they do not require tables and chairs and things like that. So they have very specific requirements that they're looking for. That conditional approval is needed to apply for a liquor license to serve liquor in these outdoor dining spaces. That application includes a 30-day notice to the community board. Community board has to be notified of an outdoor dining location so that they can opine on whether or not it's right for the community. You have 30 days to do that, and we cannot act on an application for those 30 days. If the community board is in opposition to that outdoor dining license, then it must go to a hearing at which the community can testify and the applicants can testify as to why they should or should not have their license. Juan is our sort of licensing guru, and he's going to talk a little bit more about all things licensing, but I really wanted to talk about the complaint process and the problem, the actions that you have when it comes to our problem children and our bars and restaurants that are not behaving well. So again, we have about 30,000 licensees in Zone 1, and we have 14 investigators in enforcement. So you can tell by that math that we're not exactly going out and busting down doors. We just don't have the capacity for that. So what it means is that we are a complaint-based enforcement agency, right? We're not really doing many stings or anything like that unless we hear from the community. So if there's a location that's a consistent problem, we don't know unless we're getting complaints from the community. And those complaints are not 311 complaints. We don't get those. We don't get the 911 calls. Those do not come to us. It has to be a complaint through our system. And once we get a complaint and once we get consistent complaints, that's when action starts to take place. So I left a flyer at the front. Giovanna has it, and it goes into how to make a complaint on our website. It's not that difficult. It's a clickety click, and you can make a complaint. But what we're looking for troubled spots are actionable complaints that are, this is taking place at this time, on these nights, on these days, and those are the kinds of things that we can, start to investigate and go after. But without a trail of complaints, there's just not much that we can do. And so what you find is that there might be location that everybody in the community knows is a bad actor. Everybody in the community knows is a problem. Maybe they're not, they said that they were we're going to open up as a restaurant, and suddenly, they're a disco, playing music till 4 a.m. Or, they say they're going to be a pizza shop, and suddenly it's a strip club or something like that, right? Everyone knows it in the community, but we don't know it. So that's why complaints are so essential. It's essential that as many people as can complain through our website and get that paper trail going. And once that paper trail is going, then we every licensee is given due process. We will go and we'll investigate, and then they will have a chance to respond. They have to be given a chance to respond. But once that happens, we start with a letter of advice telling them to cut the behavior out, and then fines come, and fines increase. The more complaints they get, the more investigations we do, the higher the fines get. And eventually, it doesn't happen often. We're not revoking licenses, we're canceling licenses that much, but it happens through that complaint process. That's the way it happens. The only other thing that I really wanted to mention, is if you're seeing a place that does not yet have a license and it's serving, there's two different situations in which that can happen. One is they're applying for a license and they've applied for a temporary license. Our temporary licenses are given out pretty quickly, in just a couple of weeks, while we review the main application, which can take up to 6 months. When that happens, that is the time to complain. When someone is running on a temporary license, your complaint is so powerful at that moment at getting things the way you want them to be, whether it's earlier closing hours or not to open at all. So during that temporary process, that first 6 months is really key that you're making your voice heard at that time. The other possibility is that they don't have a license at all, in which case you have to call the police. Straight up, you have to call the police. If someone is serving alcohol and they don't have a license, that's a police call. The complaints that we sort of rely on and put us into action most quickly are obviously surrounding violence, sales to minor. These are things we take very seriously. Overcrowding, and the complaint that we get the most is, I'm sure you can guess, noise. Which actually is the Department of Environmental Protection. They do noise. but the noise complaint is very good at getting our people out there to find the other problems. So if it is a noisy venue, definitely make that complaint. That's a place to start. That'll get us out there and we can start to see what's going on. Now, Juan is going to talk a little bit about the community's impact on these places getting their licenses in the first place now.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us out here. So I guess I'll start from the beginning. The sweetness. Yes. So you'll have the applicant must file no earlier than 30 days and no time over 270 days before filing the application to the community board. The reason for that is because obviously we would like to have the community board input whether or not.
Can you read it out, please?
I'm sorry?
We can't
Oh,
hear
no,
you.
closer? Oh, hello? Okay, sorry about that. All right, so I'll start again. So 30 days is the minimum, 270 days is the maximum that the applicant can file with the community board before they file with the SLA. All right, and the reason for that is because we want the community board's input, whether or not they approve or they might be in opposition. Now, just because the community board is in opposition doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to be disapproved. What that will mean is that the applicant will have to go before the members of the authority at a full hearing. The hearing is open to the public. We actually had one earlier today. Now, the community board can also put some stipulations or conditions on the licensee, and if the licensee agrees to those, then obviously there's no need to go to the board. So I just want to make sure everyone's clear on that. 30 days is the minimum, 270 days is the maximum. And if the community board chooses to oppose, then the applicant has to go to the full board. Or if they agree to conditions or stipulations, then obviously they don't have to go to the members. The next thing is the applicants technically don't have to meet with the community board, they just have to make sure that they notify. So now it is important for the community board, obviously, to give them the opportunity to appear before them. So that's why we do the 30 days, because we are trying to be fair on both sides and leave the community board the opportunity to meet with the applicant and obviously iron out any concerns or any kind of issues. The law that covers this is 110B for those that would like to take notes or have some information. 110B. So the next item that was listed here, and okay, the license can be approved without community board input, like I mentioned, because the minimum that they have to do is just show proof that they actually notify the community board. This could be done via email, could be done in person, or it could be done US certified mail. And obviously, Giovanna and I have had a couple of discussions with some some matters related to this community board. The next thing is, okay, now the community board can choose to submit a stipulation, but they cannot set the closing time. According to the state law, the on-premises consumption hours in Queens County are weekdays from 8 a.m. to 4 a.m. Sundays, 10 a.m. to 4 a.m. And for Christmas Day, normal hours apply. So now, again, if the community board is not happy with those hours, they could definitely send us a letter stating their opposition to the 4 a.m. and they could again propose a different set of closing hours. Some community boards are more active than others, so we do have a little bit of both. We have some that never say anything, so anyone that gets a license can basically open till 4, and then we have others that have midnight, sometimes 1, or a mix of both. They might be midnight, let's say during the week, and then on weekends they might bump them up to 1 or 2. And weekends for us are usually Thursday into Friday, Friday into Saturday. The next one is going to be criteria shelter permits. Okay. So I'm sorry, before I go on, does anyone have any questions? Yes.
Where's the microphone?
You say 8 to 4. All 7 days they can open until 4 a.m.
Alcohol, right, alcohol may be sold on premises for consumption during the hours of 8 a.m. to 4 a.m.
Understood, 7 days. All 7 days they can open until 4 a.m. My
Correct,
question,
yes. Yes.
we have had confronted several problems in this regard. Our ex-committee chair, he had made the stipulation to have some security, people, security, said, but because there could be chaos and anything, midnight, housing areas also thereby. What is your solution about that?
Correct. So now, if the community board chooses to put stipulations or conditions, we must be notified before the license is issued of the concerns. And again, if the applicant chooses to agree to those, the application can be approved under normal circumstances. If the applicant does not agree, then we would have it go to the full board, appear before the members, and at that time, the community and the community board could actually show up to the hearing or just submit more written opposition if they choose to. Yeah?
Well, couple things, like, we actually depends upon the neighborhood in the area. We actually. Can't hear you, David. The hours of operation. Thank you.
Depends upon the location of the application, we change the hours of operation. And according to what you're saying, if anybody can has a right to request to 4 o'clock in the morning if they wish.
They can say they wanna go to 4.
Right, they could, right. Any applicant could go to 4 a.m. as long as there's no opposition. If there's opposition, then the applicant has to either agree to those with the community board, or they go to the full board, and it's a 3-panel, a 3-judge decision, basically, 2 commissioners and the chair, and they will vote on the merits of the application.
Like, do you have any rules for opposition, for instance?
What do you mean, like?
Like to reduce the hours, like before to close the.
Oh, that would be up to the board, whatever you guys decide and you think that is a reasonable hour, you could put it as stipulations, again, make sure that they are clear on paper. A lot of community boards actually have the applicant sign during the meeting, like let's say tonight, there was somebody here and you wanted them to put it on paper, they would sign the stipulation and then you guys would send us the monthly report and say, hey, applicant X agreed to 2 a.m. and that's what we are gonna hold it to. Or you could have a mix of earlier hours during the day and maybe a different hour during the week.
But also I see certain times that another licenses, they have to 3 or 4 o'clock. How we want to restrain the nuance is that prejudice.
Yeah, for the new ones. Now, the ones that you might have a little bit more of an issue is when an applicant wants to renew their license, because most licensees have to renew the license every 2 to 3 years. So at that time, they're also obliged to, they have to notify the community board to let you guys know that they're gonna renew their license. So at that time, you are also able to put your comments in, but it's gonna be a little bit tougher to do it after the license was originally issued.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, I'm actually sort of underscoring what the SLA is saying. Community Board 3 actually does follow that process. We do it by, if the applicant is not agreeable, then the board will, which is infrequent, by the way, will disapprove the application, and then we will send a letter of recommendation to SLA advising that the community board disapproved it for whatever the reasons are. And if it's in the matter of the operation hours, then we will indicate that we recommend to get it closed at an earlier time because of probably past record or the neighborhoods that they're in. So we actually are following SLA rules and regulations. So I just wanted to, to say that we're not operating against the norm.
And it really behooves the community board to ask for more than you want in the beginning. Because if the licensee doesn't agree,
and you go before the full board is gonna come down somewhere in between. It's a negotiation, essentially. Our kind of idea is that if both sides are unhappy, we've done our job. So it behooves the community board to ask for too much in a way, or to ask for more than you're looking for, to always be asking for these hours to be earlier. Because if you ask for midnight, you might get 2 a.m. That's the thing to remember.
And I have a question. How would I know the business next door received a temporary license?
Okay, so our website, we have a website that has information of all licensees in the state. If you go to the sla.ny.gov website, sla.ny.gov, that's our website. There's a section that's, it's the LAMP, which is the Liquor Authority Mapping Project. And basically, it's almost like a Google search feature that you're able to put either the applicant's name, address, or license information, and you will be able to see the details as to that particular license.
Okay, my follow-up question to that is you issuing temporary license based on what? Because at that point, the community has had no involvement.
Okay,
You
so.
issuing that license.
Sure, okay, so the temporary permit law actually got updated at the end of 2022. I'll take a little bit back. So at the initial notification, when the applicant wants to apply to the State Liquor Authority, that will combine the main application and the temp application. So at that time is when you would be able to comment on the applicant. So basically what happens is that once the 30 days are passed, the applicant submits the application to us. We then start reviewing the temporary permit first in order to have them open and operate, because what Dave had mentioned, our backlog is approximately 6 months. So before we work on their main, we take a look at their temporary. Now, the temporary application, based on this change in the law, you could have an unlicensed premises that has never had a liquor license before apply as new, unlicensed. And if there is no issue with the community board in our records, we then review it on its own merits and we go ahead and issue the temp permit. Now, there are certain rules and regulations to the temporary permit. It's quite long. I could give you the advisory for those that want to do a little bit of research. It's advisory 2022-34. 2022-34. That's also in our SLA website under the advisories section. And what that advisory pretty much gives you is all the different applicants that are eligible for a temporary permit, the ones that are not. It also makes reference to the community board notice. It also deals and explains what we consider the 500-foot law. I guess I could give you a quick version. So the 500-foot law, in essence, is if you were to put the applicant let's say their dot in the middle of a map, you would count 500 feet in radius, and any on premises, which is full liquor, wine and beer, that is around, if there are 3 or more, then they have to go to a special hearing to pretty much satisfy the authority that their on-premises application is going not to be a detriment to the area, to the neighborhood, because we're obviously trying to prevent oversaturation, even though it's nearly impossible, obviously. I mean, Roosevelt, 37, there's more than 3 liquor licenses in one block easy, right? But that's what this advisory does. Now, if the applicant is subject to the 500-foot law, there are certain conditions that that operator must abide by, because if they don't, then we can go ahead and basically cancel the permit and disapprove the main license as well. So that's where those online complaints are very important, because if you know that there's someone that shouldn't be operated in a certain manner, then if you complain to the right person or individuals, then we could obviously get an enforcement team to visit the premises. The other section that the advisory deals with is with a transfer application, which is basically someone buying an existing business. There's also a removal and a class change. A removal basically means that a existing licensee wants to move their place, let's say from the corner of 80th and Roosevelt to across the street. That would be a removal. And then you also have a class change, which basically means that someone is trying to upgrade or downgrade their license. If you wanna take, like, I guess the simple version would be like a small, medium, large, right? Beer only would be considered small, wine and beer, medium, and then of course, full liquor would be large. So if someone, let's say, wanted to go from beer and wine only to a full liquor, they would have to apply for a class change. And again, any application that I just mentioned, they have to notify the community board. So at that time, the community board's input is very important, because if the community board feels that this upgrade is going to maybe be not a good idea, obviously you can let the authority know your concerns, or again, always talk to the applicants to see if you can come to an agreement. Maybe 2 o'clock, 12 o'clock, or whatever you guys think would be good. Obviously, that's more than reasonable. The other thing that also, I don't think we have here as much, is seasonal licenses. Obviously, there's certain areas that just, or certain businesses that just open during the summer months or the winter months, depending on, their particular method of operation. So right now, obviously, we're in the full summer mode. So you think like the beaches more, the parks, there's gonna be obviously a lot of businesses that are gonna open just for the summer months. And for us, our season goes from 4/1 to 11/30. That's the maximum amount that you could operate under a seasonal summer license. Any other questions?
Okay, sounds something.
Yeah, do you have jurisdiction, I'm sorry.
Let's see if this works.
Do you have jurisdiction over private halls or private businesses that alcohol is being consumed? Is that within your jurisdiction, or that's more of a police matter?
Honestly, it really depends, because some businesses might be like party halls, catering establishments. For those, you do need to have a license. Now, there are some event spaces, let's say like here, let's say someone wanted to rent this space out and have a private party, they should file for a one-day permit. And that's an online permit. Obviously, it's way different than a liquor license or a temporary retail permit, but it's called a one-day permit. And those are pretty much for the date of the event, and it should be at a location that does not have a license.
I just wanted to add, for the complaint form online, it doesn't include a section for including photos, videos, or documents. I don't know if that's something that you can update. Okay.
My email is on this form that I made a lot of copies of. Anyone can take it. If you are seeing something and you wanna complain about it and there's no place to upload it, send them to me and I'll make sure that they get it.
Right, yeah, and just make reference to because you should get a complaint number, so we'll have it kind of on both sides. They will have the documents, and then we'll have the official.
I think for people who maybe aren't as engaged, maybe there's someone who's never ever made a complaint in their life, my experience or what I saw was so terrible. Let me look up the complaint form, and if there's any way to update the actual form itself, or at least add a section that says, email this person if you have additional supporting documents, that would be.
I have a question. Going back to temporary permits. As far as I know, temporary permits are not searchable on land.
Okay, so the temp permits, okay, so in that particular part, honestly, I haven't checked it recently. I know that we did have a issue with our IT vendor from the last time. If you recall, the previous program was much better now. If it's something like that, I could also give you guys my email and we can definitely take a look at it for you. But in general, the best way to contact the authorities, like I said, through that online complaint form, but Dave and I can definitely also point in contact.
And the other thing with temporary permits, basically, is it correct that that gives the permit holder the 8 AM to 4 AM automatically?
No, not necessarily. The ones that are covered by the 500-foot law that I mentioned is going to be closing time no later than 12 AM any night. Any outdoor space closes at 10 PM Sundays through Thursdays and 11 PM on Fridays and Saturdays. No outdoor music, recorded background music only indoors, no live music, DJs, karaoke, or dancing. And it's all, again, the advisory, 2022-34. 2022-34. I'm sorry. He's the one that says the other one, sorry.
Was that the one-day permit? Does that apply for the liquor being sold at the place or being given out?
It depends. Each event, depending on what particular permit they apply for, it could be either for selling as a, almost like, not a private party. It's almost like an event, like it should be a catered event, close to the public, and let's say you shouldn't let people buy tickets at the door. That would be more of a private event compared to if you were going to have a, I don't know, some kind of, let's say a
wedding or something.
Like a wedding or something like that. Yes, correct. Yeah, that would be more for family members, friends. Right, you're not selling. You're basically just allowing people to consume.
You need a permit for that.
Yes, you do. But a lot of people don't have it. Let's be honest.
Online.
Yeah, and they're online.
My last one, I can't, say it's a hypothetical, but no, it's a real world situation. We've had more than one applicant who has applied maybe 4 times in a row. Got denied every time by us and by the state liquor authority, and they just keep on applying. What is there to be done? Right, for sure.
That's the right now. Just so that we're clear on that, there is no deadline or any kind of maximum tries, but our SLA law is that if an applicant is disapproved for cause within 2 years of the previous disapproval, if they apply again, then they also have to go to the members of the authority again. So it's, again, it's not perfect, but it's a 2 years. So someone might wait 2 years and 1 day and then reapply with you, then that's legit. They could do it.
And in those situations, I always have my statement, has anything changed? And in these situations, the answer is always no.
Right, which is probably a lie, because in 2 years, a lot of things can change.
Okay, Arthur will be the absolute last.
Arthur, make it count.
Is the law the same for the whole state, the whole area? In the neighborhood, community board 13 is primarily residential. And we do have a few blocks that are, you know,
Commercial or mixed use?
You know, like Cherry Boulevard, Northern Boulevard, Roosevelt Avenue, 37th Avenue, and that's about it. And, you know, and those I can see, being allowed to stay open a little longer. Except this neighborhood is so residential, somebody's still selling liquor at 4 AM is, you know, it's too far for a neighborhood like this. And I can see it in a very rural area, you know, that could be. There was a law that's blank, and it's the, when you have the temporary license. Does that temporary license cut them off, cut everybody off at midnight? Or can some people stay open to 1, 2, or 3, or 4?
Okay, so that's 3 questions. Right. So the first answer is county hours are specific, yes. There's some towns of state that are actually still partial drive and drive. So there are very few, but we do have those. But in general, all of New York City, it's 4 AM across the board, all 5 roads. Now, on the temporary license, if it's not under the 500-foot rule that I mentioned, then yes, they can stay open till 4 AM. But before we issue the temporary permit, if the community board does give us the stipulations, then we will make the applicant abide by those. Now, again, if the applicant did not agree, then they would have to go, even on the temporary permit application, that temporary permit application would have to go before the members, which what I told you, the 3-member panel, and they would have to appear before them, and then whatever the board decides, that's what will be on the temporary permit. Okay? Great. Great. All right, thank you, everybody, for your time. And you didn't bring anything, sorry. Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Next, thank you, sir.
Next, we have Alfonso Lopez, the Borough Commissioner of the New York City Department of Environmental Protection.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Hopefully you all can hear me.
Yeah.
Great. So I'm Alfonso Lopez. I'm the new Queens Commissioner for DEP. This is a brand new office that we've erected here in the department. I like to tell people that we are flying this plane as we're building. Main function, the main way you'll interact with us and we'll interact, sort of across the different folks that are here, is a liaison between the agency, electeds, community boards. We've expanded that to include civics, precinct councils, really any community group that would benefit from understanding the relationship and how we can be a conduit between what the agency does and the needs of the community. That's what we're here for. I'm going to condense this really fast because I know you all have a lot of things to get through today. First was really the intro. I want you guys to be able to reach out if there's ever any needs. I'm going to say this a couple times so you can write it down, and it'll be in some of the docs that we have here. The best way to reach us is our email is queensdep@dep.nyc.gov. Keeping it interesting. Again, queensdep@dep.nyc.gov. That goes to myself and our team, and Andrew Sokolov on the other side, which one of your neighbors is on our team. And how does that benefit you? I always tell folks, my scratch record is make sure if there's any issues that you're seeing in the community that need attention or have not gotten attention. That goes everywhere from everyday things like dirty catch basins, ponding, to larger flooding, water-related issues. Always put it in 311 because that's your receipt. Sorry?
Can you repeat the email but slower?
I'm going to repeat it again. Always put it in 301 because it's your receipt that you put in a concern. If you're not seeing any traction, send an email to this email that I'm going to repeat. It's queensdep@dep.nyc.gov. That goes to myself and the team. Always include 311 number, short description. If you can do a photo or video of the issue, that's always very helpful. I also ask folks to CC the community board, your local elected, whoever you're comfortable interacting with. It just keeps accountability, so it's more eyes on those requests. So with that, I'm going to go through this flooding 101 very quickly. This is an attempt, again, new office, new approach to these things. We're trying to reach people before, with information that's useful before an incident is, essentially before the storm is right above your head. So Andrew's gonna help me out by going through these slides. Okay, so very quickly, the three sort of methods that we always look out for is water coming from up top through storms, through coastal flooding, and through groundwater. The variable now that we always keep in mind when we're developing our planning, our strategies, is obviously climate change, and we've seen where significant impacts have happened around hurricanes Henry, Ida, and where you see that the inches per hour are 1.94 and 3.15. That's when it exceeds capacity for the system. The main defense that we have to manage water, if we can go to the next slide, is our sewers. Our sewers are designed to handle, I think we're stuck. Okay. Our sewers handle the majority of the rain incidents that we see. Where there is an incident that you see with these storms is when they exceed the capacity. We also have different methods that we employ to handle water, to give the system some time to catch up. And one thing that I'll show, and if you can, as you go on your way out, 2 docs that we brought to share with everybody is our rainfall ready. This is very useful tips that we'll go through actually towards the end of this that show what a homeowner can use. Some of these are useful also for buildings, but primarily for homeowners, how you can prevent rain coming into the home or flooding coming into the home during an event. I'm also brought our brand new, this is right off the printer, our 2024 Drinking Water Supply Quality Report. This is where you can see how I like to say that we bring water, 1 billion gallons of water, fresh, clean, safe, and high quality, the champagne of waters, 125 miles from the reservoirs all the way to the rockways. And so that every time you put on your tap, you get water that's not just great tasting, but also safe. And we test that multiple times a day. And so just going into it, we'll catch up here in a little bit. Well, we always have a backup. So let me just go through, I'll just kind of speak to it through our slides here. Okay. So our sewers handle 98% of our rain events. They're designed to handle 1.5 to 1.75 inches of rain per hour. And where we see incidents is when they exceed that capacity. Some of the things that we look out for are sewer backups and overflows. Oh, we're back up. Great. Make sure we're on the next slide. Sewer backups and overflows. 60% of our city has combined sewers that carry wastewater from your home and stormwater from rains. Where we see incidents is where that capacity has been exceeded, and then you start seeing water coming up through the basement, through cracks in the basement foundation, and through some of the toilets and grates that we have down there. Groundwater flooding is similar. Again, where we see this is related to the high water table, and so that's where you see water coming up through cracks and through grates in the basement. We have some tips to watch out for that. And then tidal coastal flooding, we do have the bay to the north. Tidals where the water comes up, it can go through the sewers, it can come up through sewers and catch basins when that water has just gotten exceedingly high. Hurricane season is really the reason we're here. Like I said, we're trying to do some of these sessions ahead of time. Storm season is getting here, but it's not quite here yet. That goes June to November. August is typically where we'll see higher incidents. And so we want to make sure to come out. And we're going to be doing different versions of this and where you all could be helpful partners in this. I got to give a shout out to Giovanna and to your chair. They're great partners, very vocal. As you know, they're not shy about reaching out to us with any issues. And we appreciate that. That's been very helpful in sort of getting this team up and going and interacting with the needs of the community. We're going to be reaching out to them and also to you to see if there's any ideas on topics that you want to hear about. So looking into our toolkit, there's a lot of different tools that we use to combat flooding. And then we typically group them into gray infrastructure, green infrastructure, blue infrastructure. We'll go through that. So again, our sewers, first line of defense, they handle the majority of rain incidents. Our unified stormwater rule is something I really want to, sort of emphasize. I don't think a lot of folks have a full awareness of what that is. It covers one of the biggest concerns, which is development. A lot of folks say, hey, look, my neighborhood didn't have all these tall buildings, all these extra folks here, brushing, using the toilet, showering. Can the system handle that? We find that the majority of times when issues do arise, it's not necessarily from folks going through using water in those ways. It's from water coming down. And so what the rule does is it requires any development to manage their storm water. So the footprint around where they're developing to incorporate some green spaces that are those sponges that give the system some time to catch up. Gray infrastructure like porous pavement, where you'll see pavement that can actually absorb water down into the ground, and a variety of other methods. But this is a really great one to show for folks. And there's more info obviously on our website, and I can always talk more about it. So this is really the crux of it. What can you do? It's not just coming here and telling you about what we worry about in the big ticket items, but what can you, do every day to help prevent some of these things happening? And this is actually, some of these photos are described in the pamphlet that I have here for you. As you see here, some of the things to worry about: sewer backup, stormwater flooding, safety. You see some of these converted basements. We've had some issues with that in some previous storms with Ida, where we just want to be mindful particularly if you have a slope driveway, slope entryway into a basement where folks are living in. You want to be very careful because water goes where it wants to go, and it can come up very fast. And then that's where you can employ some of the devices and processes that we're going to show here in the next couple of slides. Downspouts is something we like to mention to folks. Sometimes folks, for convenience, they don't want water pooling in their walkway, driveway. They'll connect it to the sewer, and that actually introduces a lot more water a lot quicker into the sewer and helps to overload the system. We always recommend folks to reroute those, to not connect them to the sewer. You can have a rain barrel, and those are very easy to convert from trash cans that are not in use, or just purchasing them either in stores or online. And then you can use that water to water gardens, to clean, out in the yard. But it keeps the water from going into the system and overloading it. I know for me, I don't get into the basement a lot. We recommend flood sensors that are providing auditory warning, so you can hear that there's water. We always say to put them near either the windows or into any of the grates that you may have down there where water may be coming up. And that gives you a warning that you can hear in case there's something going on. Some pumps are useful. That's where it can actually pull the water out. A lot of times when there's a storm, people are like, DEP, there's water in my house, come pump it out. But at that point, we'd be pumping water out where it's gonna come right back in. So these are handy, but it's the preventative measures are the ones that we really recommend to avoid the water coming in altogether. And little things, like you heard when we had the drought, where the recommendation was, reduce the time that you're brushing, showering, all that. Sometimes those little tips, I always like to say, not only save you water, but when you save water, you're saving money. And that's something that everybody can use. In the instance when there is a bad storm, waiting to use your water devices, whether it's the toilet, the shower, the sink, When you don't need it, if you can help the system buy some time by not putting more water in there, that helps everyone. We also have for businesses, I know there's some business owners here, there's folks that frequent businesses. Trash it, don't flush it is one of the things that we actually have this as a poster board that we can give out. We can bring that to the community board to hand out to the businesses in the area. And this is also similar to the pamphlets that we have for not putting grease in the pipes. These are just things that prevent the fat burns that you may have heard of, just collections of fat material. Essentially, you're giving the system a heart attack because it blocks it, and then we have to come and factor it out. But that can cause flooding as well. And so we've actually been really lucky with some community boards to go out and do business corridor walking tours, and we'll hand out materials, we'll talk to folks, we'll give our contact. If that's something that folks are interested in here, we're happy to do it here. We just did one in Long Island City recently. And it's a handy way to get folks to know who we are, how to reach us, and how we can help. And then the next 2 or 3 slides are just either apps or insurance that could be helpful to give you early warning about storms. And then we always talk about the AWR, the insurance that can be very helpful in case something happens. This is also the federal programs, the National Flood Insurance Program, in the event that something happens. These could be very helpful. I believe the next slide is actually where we talk about homeowners insurance. Check your plans, see what works for you. AWR is the one that we sort of keep an eye on, and it comes if you opt in, it goes on your bill, and it's not very expensive. Add on a rider that you get in your bill every month. But these are things that can help prevent if something does happen. They can help get coverage and get someone to come out very quickly. And knowing your evacuation zone, and then the next slide also with the alert from OEM. These are just the good things to know, good things to plan for in the event that something major happens. Good to know what's the plan to get you, your family, your friends from your home to a safe place. We always recommend this one, Notify NYC. That's from our sister agency, Emergency Management. That gives you real-time alerts on your phone. And that was as fast as I could get through it. So happy to take any questions.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, I was curious about your coordination with other departments, like Parks does street trees, DOT does rain gardens and other street treatments. Are you involved with coordinating with them on that at all?
On a whole host of things. Any given day, we'll talk to our sister agencies from anything to roadway matters, which can be DOT. If there's our infrastructure under it that's impacting the roadway, then it turns back to us. We coordinate with parks. Their sewer systems generally are theirs. But wherever there's opportunity to collaborate or just to decipher as quickly as we can whose jurisdiction it is and who's best apt to take care of the issue, we talk very, very frequently.
Yes, thank you. And I'm calling about the offensive that on Roosevelt Avenue, when the rains comes heavy, all the business, most of the business, the water come in the business. I don't know why the reason, or they don't do the cleaning up of the city, or what they happen, but that's what happened with everybody's basement is flood the business.
Okay. It could be any number of things, and that's actually a great opportunity if we want to collaborate and do a walking tour and go visit. I'm happy to go visit all of them and just kind of hear from them what's going on, anything specific. It could be catch basins, like I think you were kind of alluding to there. If catch basins are full, we always tell folks, we actually just did a big announcement in Brooklyn this week about adopt a catch basin. But, like in front of my home, if I see the catch basin dirty, we collect it and throw it away. It's a little bit extra work, but it prevents the water from coming into your business and your neighbors' businesses. So we always encourage that. Also around business corridors, it's educating folks of not putting the grease, because the grease can collect, especially if it's happening frequently. That makes it a little debris, and then you start seeing water come up. And when water doesn't go in the drain, it pulls in the street, and depending on how much there is, that's where you see some of those problems. So I'm happy, we can talk after this, and I'm happy to come out and do a walk with them, with some of those folks.
No, because at one time I see them cleaning up, they show me what's going on. One of the guys that was working there, doing the cleaning, he told me that it's because these people cook it in the outside, the one that they throw the grease in it.
Yeah, the grease can be an issue, depends on how much, the frequency, but it all contributes, right? It all builds up over time. That's why I always compare it to, like, you know, getting a clog in an artery. It's the same with that thing that happens with the sewers. So that's something that we have material that we can come out and educate folks. We've done it. I think we did it in Corona Plaza before one of the town halls we had a few months ago. But we can definitely come out and do that.
Then we can get to that. All right, okay.
We're gonna take two more, Dawn, and then Nula. Oh, there's a lot. Okay.
Thank you for coming. I just wanted to ask about how underfunded parks are in New York City, how New York City Parks is like 14% of the land, but they have like 0.5% of the budget, or even less. And there have been all kinds of incredible things that they've done in Hoboken, where they put like reserve tanks under parks, and they're pumping out stormwater, they're protecting like a 10-block radius. And we're not really doing anything like that, and it could take some incredible coordination with your agency and other agencies to like unlock funding for parks and unlock the power of parks. And I just want to know, like, if we want to advocate for that, who should we be talking to? Are these conversations happening? I know Bill asked about coordination, but like just kind of feedback about that, like park specific.
Sure, and I think, you know, we have all manner of coordination with parks. I think some of these bigger projects, what I would say is you have great advocates. I mean, you're all great advocates as part of this community board and with your leadership here. But that's one of the advantages I think is in having these borough commissioner positions now, because we are that conduit to the agency. So you don't have to just email when there's a problem, if there's ideas. My previous life before this is month 8 for me, so I'm still, compared to some folks like Andrew and others at the agency, you know, very, very new. But my previous life was with Intergov over at City Hall. And you find that some of the ideas, the best ideas, come from folks in the community who live the issue, walk by the issue, notice it down the street, talk amongst each other. Within the world of DEP, of environmental, please reach out to me with those. Send them over, I'm happy to come by and talk. There's never a bad reason to come to this neighborhood. I'm allergic to salad, but I'm very apt for everything else. And this place is just full of small businesses that I'm happy to support. So, but in all seriousness, anytime that, whether it's, you know, email over the phone, or I'm happy to come down here, reach out to us.
We got 2 more questions here. I also want to say, I'm a vegetarian, I'm allergic to salad too.
Nothing against salad.
As a homeowner, about 3 or 4 times a year, I get a letter from a private corporation asking me about fixing my pipes and signing up for something that has a New York City DEP logo on the outside of the envelope. How do they have the right to I always think, oh my goodness, there's something important, and it's always them just asking me to sign up for their service. How do they have the right to use your logo?
What I'll first ask you is if you have a copy, then you can either email it, or I'm happy to meet up and take a look at it for our folks. It'd be great to see it, just to make sure that, you know, we can verify with our folks that there's legit coming from us, or if it's something, you know,
You guys.
something out there. You know, it's good to, I know every meeting I go to with the borough president and with some of the other community groups, the DA talks about fraud, and so some of those elements are out there. I don't want to say that that's what it is, but I'm happy to look at that one in particular, or if anybody else has something like that. I know we do have AWR that is the insurance that we always mention to folks, because it's something that comes, you know, on your bill itself. So it's kind of like a one-stop shop, and we keep an eye on those, and we can help with those cases if it's AWR. But I'll connect with you after this, or if you want to, you know, just email me to the email I sent.
I wanted to ask, I know DEP has jurisdiction over sinkholes, and how do you determine DOT or DEP that handles it? Because I know there's a lot of large sinkholes opening up all the way from Roosevelt all the way to Northern Boulevard. I went on 3rd Street and I've seen a lot of large sinkholes. So I'm not sure if you fix it or it will be DOT. that fixes such large sinkholes that I think could be a safety hazard?
That's a great question. Sinkholes are one of those day-to-day things that people face, whether they're walking by, it's a tripping hazard, or with a vehicle. It depends. If there's assets underground that are DEPs that are causing it, whether it's a water main that has collapsed, or sometimes we'll have a break, and that break can cause some of the things. We partner with DOT, and we'll go back and forth. And sometimes we're just working an issue down in the Rockaways, where we ended up actually partnering with both DOT and coordination with some of the utilities in the area, and we did sort of like a layered fix because of what was underground right there and what was causing it. So it just all depends, but always, if you 311 it, it's gonna identify one of the agencies that's most likely to have it, and if it's not them, then we all talk to each other. And if you're not seeing any movement, just go ahead and email that email.
And in the interest of time, David will be last, and the Commissioner's going to ask questions back later.
Sir, for many times about since 20 years ago, at least we trying to see if it's possible to separate the black water from the rainwater. The situation that we know that because you have to, when you get the sewer flooding, I guess, all the sewer goes to a specific treatment plant, because you cannot directly send it to the river. So creates a big problem also wherever it gets flooded. It's the black water mixed into, it's a lot of problem, especially for homeowners flooding. We request many times, would it be the best if you be able to separate the rainwaters from the black waters? Black waters we never get flooded. Rainwaters, only you be able to directly send it to the river, and would it be a good situation, less work, and better for the community, much better for the community. Okay, how far are we out of this?
So I can look into that for you. I know that we have combined sewers, right, where it's the sewage and the stormwater. We do have that throughout the city. I can find out specifics for this area and ask if there's, sort of like, what is the thinking, what is the planning, short term, like you said, you've been asking for it for a while. So I can connect with you after this, or send it, and also send it to the chair, to the district manager, and yeah, we can follow up on that. And again, that's why I'm very happy to be here doing this, because it gives you a conduit to ask these questions and to do the follow-up.
Sure. Like I said, as it was getting late, if anyone else has a question, you can follow the Commissioner to the back, and he'll answer.
Can you take my question, please? The last question.
I already said last question, I have to move on.
Well, it talks about our environment. And I'm taking advantage of this because you have a New York State representative here. Assalamualaikum. Thank you. This is concerning land use. This concerning empty sidewalks, empty areas that is owned by New York State DOT, and now it's becoming a dump site. So this is interagencies. I tried to apply for one of the sites, but DOT state give me a hard time. So I'm bringing it up to the board here to help, because I can see that site is now full of black bags, garbage bag, and mops, and also it's becoming a toilet. So we need to put an action on this. How? Because it's so difficult to work papers with DOT. They demand engineers and everything. Engineers cost $3,500 just to survey the space in order for them to give you the space. when in fact that can be turned into gardens.
And so you're saying it's a state site?
Yeah.
Okay. Because my initial thought is if it's an area of the city that's just, there's a dumping ground, like people are just leaving garbage, and like you said, other things. Typically, citywide cleanup would be possibly DSNY, so that's something that we could reach out to our sister agency. If it's a state site and it's you said it was a state licensing that you wanted to get there, then that may be more state, so it's a Department of, it's DSC, so it's the Department of Environmental, DEC. Conservation.
Yeah.
So if it's state, it may be more at that level, because we're city. If it's something that DSNY maybe can help with, so maybe just in the interest of time, if you want to give me your contact, I'm happy to ask, and we can follow up, but it's probably going to be outside of DEP.
All right, that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. United States Tennis Association. Hello, welcome.
Hi, I'm Shelby. I'm the manager of community relations for the National Tennis Center.
Hello everyone, I'm Irvin Hills, Senior Manager HR for NTC as well also.
So we're here doing our annual recap and update, the tennis talks. Once we kind of get this thing rolling, we'll be able to show you guys a little bit better what we do here at the National Tennis Center. So for those of you who don't know, I'll just go ahead and start my spiel. The National Tennis Center is a venue underneath the USTA as an entire governing body of tennis. It's a national organization. It's also a nonprofit organization. So all the money that we earn throughout the year, not just at the National Tennis Center, but as a national organization, goes back into funding our purpose-driven mission, which is growing and inspiring tennis. I'll be able to better articulate it. Oh no, okay, that's okay. Oh, I have that's actually so upsetting. I've been working on my presentation skills just for these moments, and I really had some fun photos, but it's okay, I'll just be able to talk through it. Yeah, maybe I could like this. So like I was saying, the USTA, we're a mission-driven organization. And so our organization's mission is growing tennis to inspire healthier people and communities everywhere. So at the National Tennis Center, being a venue, we do that in a couple of different ways. One being the US Open that we host every year. Sorry, I do this two-handed. We host the US Open every year. Obviously a global premier sporting event. Every year it takes a village to host such a big event, right? So Irving here is new to the team, but he's, spearheading a lot of the recruitment efforts. And last year, we do a lot of recruitment efforts in Queens. One, because homegrown, we want to support the event and have it operated by all of our community here, but also the commute just makes it a lot better. Trust me, we've been working 18 hours a day over there for 3 weeks. You don't want to be going back and forth from the Bronx or Brooklyn or Manhattan. But it was super awesome, so we were able to translate all of our job fair flyers last year into 5 different languages that we posted throughout all of Queens. We hosted, in addition to our official job fair that we're going to host again this year, June 25th and 26th. Irving will speak to that. We did 6 additional recruitment opportunities kind of throughout the community. One with Sandra Ong. One we actually popped up over at the CB3 Health Fair last year. But through all of those efforts, we were able to do 45% of about the 7,000 event staff that we hire were Queens residents. So really is truly powered by Queens, the US Open. Something fun that we started to do last year was we partnered with the NYC Sanitation Foundation to do a Queens cleanup right before the US Open. We incentivize volunteers to come out with different ticket options to some of our different fan week events and some grounds passes. And we were able to, we did that on Saturday, August 17th. We had about 88 volunteers show up, and with all of that, we collected 745 pounds of trash. So it was a challenge, and it was hot, but we did it. So I can't give you too much of a recap because that's where the photos come into play, but I can give you last year Fan Week was awesome. We had over 248,000 people come through just in that first week. Fan Week is the qualifying rounds of the tournament, and it's something that we've just opened up to the public. It's free to come all day long. We just want to make tennis and the US Open as accessible as possible. And we started it off last year with a concert, a Dirks Bentley concert. I don't know if anyone is fans of Dirks up here. He is definitely a Southern guy. And we also did different special events throughout the week. Stars of the Open, Legends of the Open. We're gonna bring those back this year as well. Just a fun, casual tennis setting. The players get mic'd up and everything. It's a fun night. So we'll have a few of those as well. We have a block party on Friday. That's a ticketed event, but it's free. So you just have to go on and reserve your ticket whenever those come out. Our Thrash Kids Day, as always, is a fun one. It's a crazy one, right? We had 48,000, I want to say, come through last year just on Kids Day alone. So you can imagine the chaoticness of that. But it is super fun. There's lots of events for kids to try tennis, learn how to play. They get to get on court. They get to get up closer with the players, get opportunities for autographs. There's face painting, storytelling, balloon animals. It's a wonderful day. And so that's every Saturday. I'll give you guys the dates as we go through later on. We also do the Queen's Kiosk, so powered by the QEDC. They're there all 3 weeks, and they come and they, distribute and scream about all the great businesses, restaurants that are along the 7. So if anyone's ever interested in, getting into that cart or anything, Rob Mackay from the QEDC runs that. So that's always a fun one, and it's a great photo. We always invite the community boards. Frank was in this photo, but you can't see it. And then that same day, so we do on Wednesday of Fan Week, we do kind of like a community mixer, if you will. That same day that we do the photo op for the Queen's Kiosk kickoff, we also invite about 300 seniors from different senior centers, community centers. We partner with council member Francisco Moya and Sandra Ung to get the different community groups to come out. So last year we hosted, again, 300 on that day. They come for a nice day on the grounds. We do lunch and they have a wonderful day. The photos, let me tell you, were adorable. I'm so sad that you can't see these right now. That same day last year, we had a lot going on that Wednesday, and we partnered with Queens Public Library. They came and tabled, gave out information. They ended up signing up 30 people for library cards. So you come for tennis and you leave with a library card. So that's always fun. The main draw, of course, is the main part of the tournament. That lasts 2 weeks. So last year started Monday, August 26th and ran to Sunday, September 8th. And it's really fun to see how the tournament goes because USTA being the mission-driven organization that we are trying to grow tennis in America. Unfortunately, we didn't have American winners, but we did have a big American run. Blake Shelton and Francis Tiafoe in the quarterfinals, I believe it was, semifinals. And then Taylor Fritz going to the finals. Unfortunately losing, but we're getting there. And then Jessica Pagula, who's a New York native, actually went all the way to the finals as well. So it's nice to see, at a grand stage like that the mission is coming to fruition. And of course, we always like to talk on the numbers. Last year, we did hit the goal, which I'm hoping we won't go any higher on because it was crazy, of 1 million people came through all 3 weeks. It was packed and it was fun, but it was a good time. It wasn't too crazy. The US Open champions last year, Arina Sabalenka and Yannick Sinner. Not American, but that's okay. And when we're not doing the US Open at the National Tennis Center, we do a lot of other things. We are a public facility, one of the nation's largest public tennis facilities. But aside from tennis, we also do different stadium events. So since we got our roofs on Ash and Armstrong, we've been able to expand our abilities and do different events. So we do graduations. We had the Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show, but then they went back to the city. That's okay. But it was fun seeing all these cute little dogs running around the place. So we're trying to expand into concerts, but TBC. And again, tennis all year long. I'm gonna read you some stats here because I think they're pretty fun. Juniors in our programs that include camps, we have about 6,200 juniors playing tennis year round, 4,700 adults in programs. During summer camps, we get about 2,400 over the summer. We do different leagues and teams. We also so as I spoke about the USTA being a national governing body, we have sections, right? So USTA Eastern is the section that kind of is in charge of running tennis in New York, Connecticut, and New Jersey. So we partner with them a lot to do different events, tournaments. They're out in the community a lot, like pushing different tennis resources. So there's this fun one that I found out about that I've actually been really pushing a lot lately, is this free tennis school resource where we can come in. USTA Eastern will help organize a curriculum where they'll come into a school, teach the coaches how to coach tennis, and then we also have like a kit for them to have. So it's super fun for them to be able to learn how to coach tennis, be able to coach in their respective schools. So that's just like one of the fun things that we've worked together with Eastern on recently out into the community. But we also host at the site at the National Tennis Center. We host the New York State Public High Schools Boys and Girls Championships every year. So that's been really fun. NCAA championships. We do different workshops for coaches, different clinics for different organizations. Acing Autism being one of those, so they'll come out and have a clinic. So that's always fun. Something that I love to scream about is our PACES program. It's kind of like a field trip, but you get to come play tennis. So PACES stands for Project Alternative Classroom Experience for students. And it's a couple hours you get to come out to the National Tennis Center. It's geared towards 6 to 10, but I think it can skew higher. They come out, they get to learn about tennis and the history of tennis and the history of the game through kind of on-court instruction and a guided tour of the National Tennis Center. So last year, the 2023-2024 school year, we had 91 schools come through and about 5,000 students participate in that. So that's really exciting, and I can tell you the other day, we were walking around the site, there were 120 kids running around. We're like, wow, this is amazing, it's so lively here. So the next thing that I'll kind of dive into is just like kind of the things that we get to do in the community. We're always looking to expand our community calendar. I can't show you very well. This is like it's very, very small, obviously, but we're always looking to do different things, so I just can run through. February, we send out a Black History Month tennis curriculum, just kind of talking about our thrash, how we honor our thrash. Althea Gibson, which, fun fact, this year is her 75th anniversary of breaking the tennis barrier, the race barrier in tennis. So we will be celebrating that intent at the US Open. Let's see, what else? Queen's Pride Parade. We donate 2,500 tennis balls for the Jackson Heights Halloween parade, the children's parade. Ed Wesley was on me about that, so I made sure we got those tennis balls to him. I was just talking to Mark about this, actually. We volunteer with Love Wins and the Migrant Kitchen, one of our food vendors at the US Open. One of their initiatives is to give back and provide food to food insecure areas. So they partner with Love Wins every year, and we'll go out during Thanksgiving and help distribute some of the meals and the turkeys. I think Catalina Cruz was there this past year. She brought some turkeys with her and everything. So all the funds that they make from the US Open kind of goes back into funding that mission. So that's really awesome. Some other and Catalina was in the photo that I was going to show you guys at the food drive. But again, we also come out to like the health fairs. So last year and this year again, we'll be at your CB3 health fair over on 94th Street, in Junction Boulevard. We'll actually be at one on Saturday over here on 34th Ave with Queens Community House. I was gonna bring some tennis, but they just told me that they don't have enough room because it got moved indoors. But so things like that. So we're always looking for different opportunities to engage and come out and share the tennis, spread the tennis with everyone. So since you can't see any of these, Earth Day is a fun one. We just celebrated that, Tuesday. We always go out into the park and we clean up the park. Last year we planted rose bushes, and this year we picked weeds. So they said, you guys got a really nice job last year. We're gonna make you work for it this year. So that was really fun. And newsletters, I always send out a newsletter. So if anyone's ever interested in seeing that, being a part of that, please let me know. I'll leave my information with Giovanna, and if you're interested in reading the newsletter, I'm happy to add you to it. And so that's all I can really share that's relevant speaking wise. We'll transition into just like upcoming things for 2025. We've got new or outdoor programming that our director of tennis has conjured up for both adults and juniors. That starts in May. We're relaunching birthday packages, so there's birthday parties at the National Tennis Center now. We've got a summer camp open house, so if anyone's interested in seeing what summer camp is like, we're gonna host that. I think I put some flyers in the back. If not, I'll send out the flyers. And then US Open 2025 dates, Monday, August 18th through Sunday, September 7th, with Fan Week being Monday, August 18th through Saturday, August 23rd. That's that Arthur Ashe Kids Day. And then main draw was moved up one day this year. It'll start Sunday, August 24th instead of that Monday. And it'll run through that Sunday, September 7th, being the finals weekend. So Irving is here to talk about our hiring and recruiting efforts that we're gonna jump into starting now, actually.
Can I borrow that? Yeah. Thank you. Yes, so once again, we are hiring currently for our seasonal positions, right? Those roles will start in August. We'll go through the US Open and we'll end at September 7th, right? So we are doing interviews now that will be beginning in May, where we do have like different hiring events going on as well also too, right? But we do have our big job career fair that will be held at the US Tennis Center, and that will be on June 25th through June 26th. So it'll be a 2-day event from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. where it'll be a mass hiring. 2 days where it'll be come on by, get hired, and then start working, do the training of course as well so too, but then start working in August, right? Now we are hiring for many different positions for the US Open. So some of the roles can be it's entry level of course, but it will be for guest services, facility operations, facility events, credentials, IT roles, customer service roles as well also too, some broadcasting roles as well also. So we do have many different positions for all facets of the business at the US Open. So many different positions, right? So we're trying to hire about 2,000 people plus for the US Open for all the different positions, right? And it's entry level. Some roles, of course, may pertain to a little bit more experience, but generally it's all entry level positions that we are hiring for immediately. We do have volunteers, but that will be for some of the other events that will be there, and those positions will be up online as well also too. But it will be on the usopen.org site, but you will click on the volunteers section, it will gear you towards what the roles are for the volunteers. You're welcome. Any questions?
Age range? Minimum age.
So for some of the positions, we do hire teenagers, 14, 15, 16 for some of the roles, but the majority of the roles will be 18 and up as well, so too.
What are you guys doing to make the tickets more affordable? Every year, the prices go. I mean, courtside is like $3,000.
I unfortunately can't answer that. I don't know how the ticket operations work, if I'm gonna be completely honest with you. That's why we do Fan Week. Courtside is a very premier. No, you definitely don't, but like Courtside is definitely a premier seating. So of course, those are gonna be extremely expensive, but we do have seats in Ash and the promenade level, which still gets you in Ash. But I mean, if you wanna sit courtside anywhere, you're gonna probably have to.
Not even courtside, I just mentioned.
You just mentioned that, yeah. Well, the fun thing about our ticketing system as well is that we do a grounds pass. So that does make it a little bit more affordable, and it gets you access to a lot of tennis, just not the tennis inside Ash. Because there's only a finite amount of matches that we host in there. So, supply and demand, it just kind of draws that way, unfortunately. But that's why Fan Week is so accessible, and grounds passes help you get to see 20 courts of tennis.
I can sympathize with Pat. I can't really sit all the way at the top of the stadium. And those tickets are going close to 200 now.
Mm-hmm.
And I also have a little bias. I only like to go to semifinals.
We have big taste.
That's why the price is high. Sonia?
Thank you.
It's not working anyway.
You gotta hold it really close.
It doesn't work. Okay, I commend you for a lot of programs that I've heard. I've still.
That doesn't work.
No, it works, it works.
It's working.
We can hear it.
Just speak up, so. I commend you. I heard, you have a lot of programs and everything. I just wanna, and I'm sure you have it, I think I've seen it before, but I just didn't think you mentioned it. Do you hire people with disabilities?
Yes, we
And
do.
adults and have programs for people with disabilities? I think I've seen you do it before, but I didn't hear it.
Yes, well, actually, we do hire people with disabilities, and we also just started a clinic. It just started this past week, actually, with the Queen Center for Progress. We worked together with them to get a clinic for, I don't know how the Queen Center for Progress works and their members, but we do have a clinic running for them once a week. For 8 weeks right now. So it's like a pilot to see how it works, and we'll see how we can continue to go through that. But Acing Autism as well is one of our national partners as a USD organization. Yes.
Yes, that's all, yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's go.
It's gonna be tickets for the community board match.
Yep.
Let me answer that very quickly. We cannot accept monetary or symbolic items.
Well, they've done.
We do a community ticket program, but we work directly with organizations. So I will say last year, between the different Fan Week events that we were offering, we were able to distribute and allocate about 4,000 tickets for the different band week and grounds passes events. So we just can't go directly to these entities, so we'll go to the organizations themselves. So if there are any organizations that you're aware of that you would like to be brought to our attention, please again let me know. I'm happy to put those organizations on the list for the allocations.
Just a quick question. Just a quick question. Like every organization and businesses, they have discount for seniors. USDA doesn't have that yet for people to play on the tennis field. Discount for seniors.
Discount for seniors. We don't have a discount for seniors.
I haven't, sorry.
Oh, well, that's something that's interesting. I can go back to our tennis programs and see if that's something that, what's up with that, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah?
Go back.
I can definitely go talk to them
Yeah,
about
go
it,
back.
what their thoughts are on it, and if they're not doing it, why not?
They are not giving it.
Okay, go ahead.
5% discount.
Born and raised in this neighborhood, in Summer Sonora, and I teach right there at 145 for 20 years. And I've heard of the ASH, all these other programs are new to me, so I'm gonna be wanting to know how to find out about the places, for the students to go. Never heard of that. I know sometimes we get tickets to see the next game, give tickets to school with children to go, to tennis matches. So there's ways that we have to get on that mailing list and get that.
Definitely. I'll give you my card afterwards and we can connect, because I'm happy to introduce you to the PACES coordinator, and I'm also happy to help you get some tennis programming in your school as well.
Okay, and then also like through the co-ops, because Dory Miller Co-op, like also in the neighborhood. I don't know when you say organizations, are the organizations that could get tickets just to schools, or do they also include some neighborhood residences?
I don't know what you mean. I'm sorry, I don't know what you mean.
But when people ask them about tickets, I know a lot of times the schools get, you say connect to organizations.
Mhm.
So I'm saying, also here representing, so Box Derby, Flush Meadow.
Okay.
We do things with children, but then also there's the Dory Miller Co-op that's been here since the 1950s. You can walk to the tennis.
Okay.
So just curious.
I'll have to look into that, and if you're the point person and we're allowed to do that, I'm happy to allocate that as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we're running a little behind. Next up, public hearings, traffic and transportation, Mr. Frank Taylor.
Okay.
Frank! Woo!
All right, hello, everyone. This is Transportation Committee report. But for full disclosure, the tennis guys, they do a great job, and I go to semifinals every year. I don't get free tickets, but if you get a chance to go, it's a out of the world event. All right, we had a transportation meeting on March 31st. At that time, we had I'm going off the agenda. Okay, we had the Port Authority. The people who represented them was Ms. Moss, Rachel Moss, and Hirsch Perec. They were talking about actually starting a direct bus line or bus route dedicated to go directly to the airport. This would come off, I believe it's called Booty Road, which is right by Home Depot.
Booty Street.
Booty Street. Okay, it comes right off of Home Depot. It would merge directly into the Grand Central and go directly into the airport. I couldn't believe I said this myself at the meeting, because anybody knows me, knows how I feel about Port Authority, MTA, all those guys. They actually did a good job with this one. This actually makes sense. Also, the only thing that I had a problem with was that there was no time that it was starting, no time for it to finish. They didn't have any time frames at all. And what kind of disruption would this make on the Grand Central? Because as we know, when it cuts up to that area, it's only 2 lanes. So this is a concern for our community. The second thing was the MTA. and the DOT, which we finally got a direct answer. Not one that we liked, not one that we wanted, but we got a direct answer. Northern Boulevard, according to them, is staying 24 hours bus lane, which I was very disappointed with because we had movement with the borough president's office, actually last year or a year and a half ago, asking them to make that a 7 to 7. They said at this time, it's 24 hours. There's no cameras on there, but that still doesn't give you the right to ride that roadway. Because if you get into an accident, then all of a sudden there's a lot to explain, and insurance companies and everything else. So it still is a concern, and we're still trying to work that to be 7 to 7. You guys should know the area I'm talking about, I'm referring to, 114th Street. I believe it goes all the way down into the 80s. We're trying to get that where it's 7 to 7 and get back to 2 lanes. There's a lot of congestion on that 114th and 112th Street. And that bus lane just basically adds more to it. But we're still working on that. The concern is when we have games, the congestion is ridiculous. And that's it comes off the highway to be a 1.5 lane, which is crazy. You know, so we're still working on that, but we did get a definitive answer. Like I said, not one that we wanted, but we got it. I was glad to see the Assemblywoman, Ms. Cruz, here today, because DOT, we've been working very hard. Where's Martha? Is Martha here?
She's in the back, she's right there.
Well, Martha's been a champion of this for probably about 20 years, okay? Trying to get lights that don't reflect into the cars where you're blinded, trying to get lights down on Roosevelt where you can actually see yourself walking. It's a very dangerous area. In fact, there's just been a report where certain officials have asked for federal aid as far as going down to Roosevelt and cleaning that place up. At this time, we were asking for different arms and different light bulbs that would illuminate the street also. So at this time, listening to Ms. Cruz, it's good to hear it's been approved, but the only problem is, and I asked her this question, is it approved for what kind of distance? Is it for the 114th all the way down to the 60s? Or is it in her area where it's the 60s to, I believe she has like 85th, 87th? Or does it, go the entire distance? These are the type of questions that we need to get input. And you need to get with the elected officials, and I guess, the community board also, to find out, because these are the answers that we're not getting. All right, we have, oh, wait a minute, anybody have any questions?
I want to comment, the bus lane, there are no cameras on the street, but the buses have cameras, and if a bus, if you're in front of a bus and take your picture, you'll get a ticket.
They told me that there's no cameras on the buses, right, on North Boulevard.
Nothing on the mobile.
No.
That's okay,
Okay, anybody else got a question?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Maybe can I confirm the address or whatever you're saying about the most dangerous address or Roosevelt, whatever area?
I didn't say an address, it's an entire, it's probably a 2-mile stretch.
Right.
That's dark, it goes from 114, down to probably the 80s.
114, can you repeat the address?
Okay, it's not an address. 114th Street
Wait, let me hear.
on Roosevelt, down to, you could go 80th Street in Roosevelt.
So it's not an address, it's an area in Roosevelt?
Correct.
Roosevelt Avenue, right here?
Yes.
Okay, and what's the street, the number street?
I have no idea.
You said it 114 or something?
114th
114 to 80th
Street, down to the 80s. If you walk that distance, it's very dark. It's right under the subway.
And what does it need to do, what's the issue in that specific
office, please.
Okay, I just said it's dark. You're walking down there, it's a dangerous area, and we're trying to get it where there's light there, where you can walk down and you can see what's going on.
I understand what
Yes.
you're saying, but it's not completely clear to me. So, let me confirm what you're saying. In that area, the issue is that it has to have more light, it's dark. People cannot go through there because it's dark. Is that what I understand that the issue is?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, anybody else? Okay. Martha, yes, Martha. Can't hear you.
We can hear
You
you.
can't hear you.
DOT has been putting bases for lights.
Good.
On the corners of Roosevelt and like 108 and 104. They have started putting the bases.
Right. Yeah, I saw those, but those supposed to only be temporary.
I know.
We're looking for a permanent fix to this. So thank you for that, though, Martha. Martha, you've been a champion of this issue for, like I said, 20 years. All right, we're supposed to have hearings today. I don't think we're gonna actually do that. In our committee meeting, we had 12 people from, 12 board members from our committee actually attend this, and this is on sidewalk and roadbed street cafes. We've had one person cancel, which is the second one. That's on 98-13 Astoria Boulevard. They've had some sort of emergency. So I'm understanding that we can back this up until next month. The problem is, well, you know what? You guys, these guys are here. My Spanish is not good, okay? So I'm gonna say your address, and if you're here, please come up. 93-21 37th Avenue? Are you here?
Yes.
Okay, then come up, please. Thank you. Okay, hey, how are you? Okay, you submitted this, right? Okay, there's no.
So what's this shop to? And it's making me jury.
Or if the other person has a chance, you're gonna have a chance also. Okay? Please submit the paperwork.
But then he's like, yeah, I saw it, like, I was going back and
That you
stuff, so I'm like, okay.
Okay, all three of you guys didn't do that. And say what is supposed to be what. It's not fair to give me this today and then ask my committee to make a decision today without seeing it. Okay? Well, I just got it today. I'm not gonna go back and forth with you, but I'm just saying, I just got it today. If you can submit the plans to your office next week, okay, then I can look at them and I can disseminate them. Okay, I was not able to do that this time. So next month, all right? Is that fair? Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. I believe that's gonna be all three of them, actually, because it's not fair. Yes, you are? Okay, yeah, you're the second one. Okay, do you have plans? Yeah. Okay. When did you submit those? I don't even have this. No, listen to me, I'm not blaming you or anything like that, but what I'm saying to you is, I don't have it. No. Okay, so if you can submit those, you know what, we can submit those today and then come back next month, all right? All right, let me explain to everybody what's happening here. All three of the establishments didn't submit plans. So you can't vote on something if you can't see it.
They gave us
Okay,
pens.
I got them today. Okay, I said that earlier, I got that today. And it's not fair for the committee to look at it today. This is not a committee meeting, this is a board meeting. Okay? All right, thank you very much. But please submit that, give that today, and then this way she can disseminate that to all, if that's all right with you, sir. Ms. Howard. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay? All right. Easy peasy. Thank you very much.
Next is the Economic Development Committee. First application, Capitales Restaurant Corp., 7817 Roosevelt Avenue, Jackson Heights. Application for a class change, upgrade to a full liquor license. Is the applicant present? Capitales? No? Not present? Moving on. Second applicant, Paradise Sports Bar and Restaurant Corp., 9715 37th Avenue, Corona. Application for a new wine, beer, and cider license. Is the applicant present? Please come forward. There you go.
Y soy del Paradise Sport Bar Restaurant.
¿Qué es lo que quiere preguntar? First time that they are applying for the license. ¿Qué clase de negocios quieren manejar para a trabajar más como restaurante, más como bar, como va a trabajar? ¿Licor completo o solamente alcohol? Okay. They gonna work with the license for beer only, they're gonna have a restaurant.
Any questions?
No,
No,
that's.
okay. Any questions?
No.
You have a question? No? How's that break?
Fridays, Saturday, hasta la 1 de la mañana.
It's on the paper too. Anyone else?
No, we good.
That's it.
Thank you. We'll take it up in executive session. Next applicant, the works I can pronounce this, La Lechoneria, New York, 2 Corp. 8417 Northern Boulevard, Jackson Heights. Application for new wine, beer, and cider license.
Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Sandra Hong. I'm the representative for the Lechoneria Colombiana at 8417 Northern Boulevard. To my left, I have Laura Ray. She's the owner of the establishment. So we are here today because we're applying currently for a beer and wine restaurant license with a temporary as well. And that's the first time that she ever owned a restaurant, that she found an opportunity to open a location on the boulevard. So this is basically a family-oriented restaurant, so Colombian days, a full menu. So basically, we open around last year, 2024. Actually, our occupancy is actually less than 74 inside. We only have 12 tables and 26 chairs. It's about like the whole space with the kitchen overall, it's about 2,000 square feet.
I'm sorry, can you speak up a little bit? You have the mic down and you're talking very fast.
People are talking. Right.
Thank you.
So we also proposing background music for the restaurant, and we agreed to the stipulations with the community board for the hours of operation. For the following is actually Monday and Tuesday, 9 o'clock in the morning until midnight. Wednesday through Saturday, 9 a.m. until 2 a.m. And then Sundays, 9 a.m. until 1 a.m. So also we mentioned to the board before that there's gonna be a manager on site every day to manage the business operations as well. Lara Race is also at the establishment every day operating the business just to get more experience with the managers to make sure everything is under control. So this moment, I never heard any complaints from 301. The establishment has been managing the business very well.
Are there any questions? Yes.
I see here that you have occupancy for 74 people. 74 people.
That's the maximum we can
Yes,
have allowed.
37 chairs. But my question is, why don't you hire any security?
We didn't find the necessity to do so. Thank you. Well, we didn't find the necessity yet to do so, because it's a family restaurant, it's very casual. We don't have any dancing at all, and then there is no loud music, this is not a nightclub. So we also offer a full menu, so people can be comfortable dining in the restaurant. If there is any need for security or any reason, we definitely hire one if it's necessary.
It's a restaurant only, right?
It's restaurant.
I heard about that it's like a family type of restaurant. I don't think that a white needs a security. I don't think that is necessary.
No.
I heard about that they're very good. I never been there, but I heard about that they're very good. All right?
Yeah, you should try the food, it's
Okay.
very, very good.
She's gonna pass out menus.
Any other questions? Take it up in executive session, thank you.
Thank you.
Next applicant, EBC 87 Incorporated, doing business as El Bulgari Cafe, 8721 Roosevelt Avenue, Jackson Heights. Application for a new full liquor license. Is the applicant present? EBC 87? Okay, not present. We will now move into executive session.
You're all my credit.
Lisa. Okay, adoption of the agenda. Have a second?
Second.
Are you gonna clap?
You did.
We did already.
You were welcome.
He did it.
Okay, hold on, it's okay.
Everybody still standing up?
Yeah, that's
Okay, Frank, you have no.
Are we doing this or no?
They're waiting to start by.
No, they said, sit down, sit down, it's done. All right. It's done, what you done? All right, let it go, Frank.
Okay, what's up?
That's the quickest one I've ever heard.
Traffic transportation.
I tell you, man, that's quick.
That was a whisper.
Frank,
West America.
correct, for all motions on traffic transportation table to next month, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
All your motions to table to next month, correct?
Correct, thank you, sir,
Okay.
yes.
Moving on to business economic development, first one, Capitelli's Restaurant Corp., no show. Next is Paradise Sports Bar and Restaurant Corp., 9715 37th Avenue in Corona. Application for new wine, beer, and cider license. Please refer to your report. The motion by committee is the committee recommends an approval of an application for an on-premise wine, beer, cider license for this applicant, provided that a stipulation has been signed, it has, stating the hours of operation will be Sunday to Thursday, 11 a.m. to 12 a.m., Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. Alcohol service will end 1 hour prior to closing on Friday and Saturday. There will be food service at all times, and background music will be permitted. Do you have a second?
Second.
Board members, any discussion? Okay, seeing none, we can call a question.
Okay. Is this on?
Let's see how it's gonna act.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, so the motion is for approval, so yes vote is in favor of the application. We have a bunch of new board members here today, so be patient with pronunciation of your names and let me know how I do. All right, starting with Pat Beckles,
Yes.
Ann Brown,
Yes.
Bill Bruno,
Yes.
Ella Bundia,
Yes.
Mark Burmaster, I'm a yes. Mukeeth Chowdhury,
Yes.
Marjorie Clark Woolridge,
Yes.
Tinson Dabdul,
Yes.
Sonia Davis Roberts,
Yes.
Vivian Dock,
Yes.
Renetta English,
Yes.
Celso Garcia,
Yes.
Ulrich Gideon,
Yes.
Kara Heffernan,
Yes.
Abdur Hallider,
Yes.
Kevin Hughes Navoa,
Yes.
Michael Johnson,
Yeah.
Marta Leverton, Lyrindra Manandar,
Yes.
Lindsay McCormick,
Yes.
Lisa Masulam,
Yes.
Richard Mullings,
Yes.
Laverne Nimmons,
Yes.
Nuala O'Doherty, Wendy Pettis,
Yes.
Dorothy Phelan,
Yes.
Potri Kiana Noor,
Present. Ay, I'm voting already.
Yes.
No.
Okay, Potri's a no. Jairo Rodriguez,
Yes.
Leoncio Romero,
Yes.
Jessica Rosario,
Yes.
Tammy Rose, Edmund Rosenbaum,
Yes.
David Rosero,
Yes.
Don Sip, Fahad Soleiman,
Yes.
Frank Taylor.
Yes.
Arthur Tyler.
Yes.
Are there members present that I did not call?
Juan Carvajal.
Your name again?
Juan Carvajal.
Juan, oh, here you are. Juan Carvajal. Okay, and your vote is?
Yes.
Another one, another one.
In the back. Oh, Chanel. Sorry, I didn't see you.
Oh, Dawn and Tammy, those guys are coming in.
Sorry.
Chanel, what was your vote?
Yes.
Dawn, your vote?
Yes.
All right, are there members in the room who I did not call?
Tammy and Nuala are walking back in.
Okay.
Tammy, what's your vote?
Need to vote quick.
Yes.
So we can get out of here.
Yes.
Tammy Rose is a yes. Nuala O'Doherty
Yes.
is a yes. All right, I'm telling you the votes. Hold on. With a vote of 37 yeas and 2 noes, the motion carries.
Next applicant, Chonaria, New York 2 Court, 8417 Northern Boulevard in Jackson Heights, application for a new wine, beer, and cider license. Motion by committee is the committee recommends approval of an application for on-premise wine, beer, and cider license for this applicant, provided the stipulations have been signed. It has, stating hours of operation will be Monday and Tuesday, 9 a.m. to midnight, Wednesday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 2 a.m., Sunday from 9 a.m. to 1 a.m. Alcohol service will end 1 hour prior to closing Wednesday to Sunday. Food service at all times, recorded music will be permitted. Have a second.
Second.
Board members, any discussion? Okay, we can call the question.
Okay, so the motion is for approval of the application from La Lechoneria. So yes vote is in favor of the application. Pat Beckles.
Yes.
Ann Brown.
Yes.
Bill Bruno.
Yes.
Elba Bundia.
Yes.
Mark Burmaster, I'm a yes. Juan Carvajal.
Yes.
Mukeeth Chowdhury.
Yes.
Marjorie Clark Woolridge.
Yes.
Tenzin Damdul.
Yes.
Sonia Davis Roberts.
Yes.
Vivian Dock.
Yes.
Renetta English. Soso Garcia.
Yes.
Ulrich Gideon.
Yes.
Kara Heffernan.
Yes.
Abdur Halliday. Kevin Hughes Naboa.
Yes.
Michael Johnson.
Yes.
Marta Leberton. Virendra Manandar.
Yes.
Lindsay McCormick.
Yes.
Lisa Masulo.
Yes.
Richard Mullings.
Yes.
Laverne Nimmons.
Yes.
Nuala O'Doherty.
Yes.
Wendy Petty.
Yes.
Dorothy Phelan.
Yes.
Potri Keanu Noor.
No.
Jairo Rodriguez.
Yes.
Leoncio Rivera. Leoncio.
Yes.
Jessica Rosario.
Yes.
Tammy Rose.
Yes.
Edmund Rosenbaum.
Yes.
David Rosero.
Yes.
Don Sif.
Yes.
Fahad Soleiman.
Yes.
Frank Taylor.
Yes.
Arthur Tyler. Chanel Thomas Henry. All right, same vote. So with a vote of 37.
Wait a
yeas-
second. The new people, are they being called?
Yeah, sorry. Perez is my last name.
You must be Giselle.
Yeah.
Okay. Giselle, what is your vote?
Yes.
She wasn't called on the first vote either.
Yeah, we can,
Okay, I'm just saying she's here.
Yeah, it's a.
are there other members present that I did not call? Okay.
You asked.
Okay, so with a vote of 38 in favor and 2 against, the motion carries.
Okay, next applicant, EBC 87 is a no-show. So we are done with motions. Next is the chairperson's report. Very quickly, I don't have much to say. Just want to welcome the new members. If you're here, just stand up and wave. Juan David. Jessica Chaparji. Tenzin Damdul. Celso Garcia. Virendra. Lindsay McCormick.
Are we supposed to wave back?
I
don't say I feel alone, you know?
And Wendy Pettis.
That's me.
Okay. Next thing, it's been late, so I will go as fast as possible. One thing that is dear to us and to this board, and especially to our former chair Marta, is the soapbox derby in Elmhurst. We are continuing to collect donations. There are envelopes in the front if you want to make a donation, and then we'll get it to Marta. Additionally, something very important to all of us, especially those who've been here a long time. I spoke about this last month. We had lost our former chair, Jimmy Smith. on the board's behalf, would like to ask for authorization to request of the council member a street co-naming in honor of Mr. Smith. So can I have anyone have any discussion on that before I ask for a hand vote?
What corner?
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
What corner? Where?
Hopefully the council member does not choose for us, but I would say it would be the corner of Astoria Boulevard and Gilmore Street. That's what we would like to see, because that was his block.
Yep. That's where you look at.
Okay.
Why not the street where we live?
That is the street where he lived.
That is the street he lived at.
Just off of Gilmore and Astoria Boulevard. On Gilmore, just off of Astoria Boulevard.
Take the fifth house
Okay,
to the left.
all in favor?
Aye. Do the members bring it up to 50 members of our quota?
Yes, we are at 50.
Good.
We are fully stocked in terms of board members. We're at the 50. A few boards in Queens are not that fortunate and have been lingering at the 40 mark for a long time. But we usually maintain our 50 here. Everything else I have to say is in my report. I reiterate that I would like to see more participation in committee meetings. Every committee doesn't meet every month, but if you have a spare moment, even if you can't stick around for the whole committee meeting, come by. It's on online. Participate. Maybe you learn something. Maybe you won't, but we welcome you to participate.
Do they have any person?
No.
Hopefully not.
Okay. Next. What else do I have? I have nothing else. One thing, since we're here, I'm just gonna say one thing. It's in the view from the chair. Those who are tree people are not going to like this. The Parks Department no longer accepts tree planting requests. As they're clearing the backlog as of now of tree plantings. It now will go on to a 3-phase cycle. Half of Community Board 3 is in phase 1, 1/4 is in 2, the other quarter is in 3. So we're talking about seeing trees, and if they're not put already and requested, 26, 27, and 28. 2026, 27, and 28, based upon their tree planting cycles. This is how the Department of Parks has found it to be efficient. I don't know if this is going to work. I'm just passing this along. Okay, District Manager?
It's more stylish too. Okay, I too would like to welcome the new class of 2025 members of the board. Welcome. Mr. David, Juan David Cabejal, is he present?
Yeah.
Are you receiving our emails?
Yes, I am.
Because they keep bouncing back, okay. Okay. All right, glad to hear that. Again, I'd like to welcome them. I'd like at this time, we sent you a little packet of information about the board, and we'd also like to get some information. We'd like to learn a lot about you as well. So if you haven't already responded, please do so. And I also encourage all of you to attend the committee meeting so you can get a general sense of what each committee does. We've asked you to choose a minimum of 2 committees. So if you could get back to me to let me know what committees you're interested in participating in, that would be helpful. But in the meantime, if you could try to get to, the whatever committee is meeting. I know that Mr. Garcia, I've seen Mr. Garcia at a few of them.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, actually all of them. So you're doing a great job. So I encourage everyone, I know that you all have very busy schedules and work and so forth, but there's an opportunity for you to participate. Our chair of the Health and Social Services Committee We'll talk about the health fair, but that's something that I'm hoping that everyone will participate in. And now what I'd like to do, as I say every month, my favorite thing. Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
Sorry, I'm asking a lot of questions. I already asked our chairman about this last time, but I think I will let everyone hear my suggestion. In community board 2, they have a culture and arts committee. And that can be a possibility also that we can create that committee.
Okay, thank you.
It's yes or no.
Okay, thank you for that report that, the chair of the executive, committee will look into that. So, as I mentioned, one of the favorite things that, I do at this meeting is to recognize individuals who are celebrating a birthday, in this case, the month of April. So for April the 6th, Mr. Arthur Tyler is celebrating his 21st birthday.
45.
Congratulations.
How old? 45. 45.
Wow. And then Mr. Edmund Rosenbaum, I think you know.
28.
28? You're 28.
38. I didn't say 38.
Oh, 28.
Still young.
And then, he has the audacity to have his birthday on tax day. Mr. Abdul Rahim.
Wow, hey. Happy birthday.
19.
Now, this is going to be, he's a new member of the board. And you're going to have to help me with your name, because I don't want to mispronounce it. On April the 19th, Mr. Morinda Manhandal celebrated his birthday.
Thank you for pronouncing your name so we can hear it from you.
Virendra Manandar.
All right, with that, I am going to conclude, because I know that we are very far behind schedule-wise. So we are, I will conclude at this juncture. Again, just to say welcome to our new members, and we look forward to working with you all. And if you have any questions, feel free to give me a call or email me. We'll be happy to assist. Thank you.
Question in the back.
Okay, we're in executive session. Next is adoption of the June 2024 minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Who seconded that?
I seconded. I did.
Marjorie. Okay. Second the next one. Motion to adopt the minutes for the March 2025. Second. Okay. All in favor? Aye. Okay, next committee reports, Health and Social Services.
I second.
No.
I'm not touching that.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Co-chair House over to Tracy is not here tonight. But he and I would like to welcome our new board members and thank again those who attended our last Health and Social Services The Health and Social Service Committee met virtual and concurred and implemented and planning committee board fees and the ongoing hold of the Board Healthcare Expo 2025 to be held June 14th at the Corona Health Center, 3433 Junction Boulevard, Corona, New York, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. An indoor-outdoor event. Free medical screenings and information will be provided. This was our third and fourth planning session. As of today, letter of invitation to participate, needs list, and letter of response have been sent to our healthcare providers and participants by the office staff. Slide distribution up to and including day of the event has begun. The committee is in the process of planning for entertainment, cultural throughout the day, refreshment donations for healthcare providers, participants and volunteers, breakfast and lunch items. Raffle donations for free raffles to be held throughout the day. Gift cards preferred. Giveaway items for free table. Monetary donations to be used where needed. A volunteer committee assignment donation form for all board members is given out tonight. We filled out even if you cannot participate on day of the event, but can contribute in some way and email back to office as soon as possible. Next meetings are scheduled for May 1st, May 21st, June 5th, and June 12th. Thank you. Those of you who did not receive the assignment form, you come up to the desk.
Okay, moving along very quickly, there's a Queens Solid Waste Commission, there's a Queens Solid Waste Commission meeting. Bill, would you like to just give a few bullet points on that?
It's in the report, I'll spare everyone's,
Okay.
Thank you.
Just to mention the soapbox derby, there is a race. Remember, we have 3 cars, Saturday, March 3rd. May 3rd, sorry. Saturday, May 3rd, 94th and 23rd Avenue. The race is from 10 to 5. Okay, moving on, legislators. I saw there was some people from legislators' office. Just start lining up over here on the side. Hello everyone, my name is Steven Mendoza. Congratulations to all the new members. You all had an interview with me, so just saying hi. Tomorrow, the Borough President is going to do the State of the Borough, and everyone can watch it on our YouTube channel. It'll be tomorrow at 9 a.m. Just stick around for a little bit if you have any questions.
Did Sammy left?
Hello, good evening everyone. My name is Sean Bahia, and I'm from the Office of the Summer State Rise, and I'd like to share a few updates on our end. So we have and had a number of events on our calendar. Last weekend, we had close to 120 community members who participated in our Earth Day of Action, which focused on Woodside, Jackson Heights, and Elmhurst. We'll be hosting a healthcare 101 workshop with Metro Plus on Monday, April 28th. We'll be hosting the Poly Community in Albany on Thursday, May 8th. We're also going to be hosting a tenant legal clinic on May 8th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at our district office. And we're also going to be hosting MCA Reduced Fare Omni event on Friday, May 16th at the Elmhurst Hospital Auditorium from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And also for the month of May, we'll be hosting our mobile office hours, which we'll be sharing with the board, happening on May 7th, May 12th, May 21st, and May 29th in the neighborhoods of Elmhurst, Jackson Heights, Maspeth, and Woodside. And if you have any questions or concerns, please let me know at the back. Thank you.
Hey everybody, good evening. My name is Samantha. I'm with the Office of
Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez. Unfortunately, the Congresswoman had to reschedule her town hall last week due to her health. A new date for the event will be announced in the upcoming days. For more information and to receive any updates, please be sure to subscribe to our newsletter. The Office of Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez invites high school students to participate in the 2025 Congressional Art Competition. As a reminder, the winner's art is recognized in a special reception by the Congressional Institute and displays in the U.S. Capitol for 1 whole year. All art must be submitted by tomorrow, Friday, April 25th, by 5 p.m. You can call and contact our office or email us at ny14art@mail.house.gov. Starting May 5th, the Education Department will resume collections on defaulted student loans, which have been paused since 2020. Over 5 million borrowers may face wage garnishment or tax refund offsets. If you are impacted, please contact your loan service providers, or you can contact our office if you're having trouble to reach them. Tuesday, April 15th was the deadline to file your federal tax return or request an extension from the IRS. While the deadline is requested, an extension has passed, taxpayers should still file and pay their tax obligation as soon as possible to minimize any penalties and interest. If you're experiencing any issues or delays with the IRS, please feel free to reach out to our office for our assistance. And just the last thing, starting May 7th, New Yorkers aged 18 and older will need a real ID license or another acceptable form of identification, such as U.S. passport or enhanced ID, to board domestic flights or enter certain federal facilities. Please check your licensing before traveling, and please, if you do not have one, make an appointment with the DMV. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. My name is Megan. I'm from the Mayor's Office Community Affairs Unit. A very few quick updates. Mayor and the DOE Chancellor announced this budget 167 million to the early childhood program. This is the part of the permanent to this budget, and for the first time, committing for the first time to annual funding for the citywide pre-K explanations and for the pre-K students with disabilities. And also, another update is about the NYPD quality of life. Mayor and NYPD Commissioner announced this new division of quality of life division citywide. The goal of this division is to enhancing the trust between the communities and the police while addressing everyday issues and impacting New Yorkers' sense of the safety and well-being. Another initiative is about New York City will be hiring 3,700 new teachers in the school year 2025 to 2026. The goal is to reduce the class small size. So that's all I got. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Dan Brown, Queens District Attorney, Melinda Cantor's office. I just want to say that the District Attorney has expanded her community engagement team so we could have people who could, we could spread our coverage of the borough a lot better. So I'm going to introduce Marissa Martinez, who's going to take over for me covering this board and the 115 Precinct Council. She's bilingual and she'll be able to get more into the area of the civics and all, but I just want to thank you all for allowing me to be a part of this community and come to this board. Thank you all for the years I did it, and I'm going to introduce Marissa.
Hello, everybody. Thank you again. My name is Marissa Martinez, as Dan said. I'm just going to provide you all with my phone number too, because as you said as well, I'm going to be covering this community board and also community board more. So I will definitely be around. I hope to become a familiar face for all of you. Phone number is 718-286-5860. Thank you. All right, good night, CB3. Jessica Gonzalez Rojas, District 34. Pretty much what I would share with you tonight would have been in our newsletter that we're sending out tomorrow. We always send out one every Friday. If you already received those, great. If not, call our office and we'll add you to the list. My last push really will be to fill out our community survey. Maybe you've seen us circulate that around. Deadline to complete it is May 1st. We really want to hear from you. All right, good night.
Good night. Bye.
Old business, new business, motion for adjournment.
Second.
All in favor?
I can't believe it's arrived.
I don't always find out what's on there.